Imagine the sky doesn't just go dark, it goes away. Right now, you are submerged at the bottom of a vast invisible ocean. It is an ocean of nitrogen and oxygen, pressing against every square inch of your skin with the weight of a small car. You don't feel it because you were born in it. Your internal pressure pushes back with equal defiance. This is the atmosphere. It is the soft blue membrane of a living cell, and we are the organelles drifting within it. But what if, in the span of a single heartbeat, that membrane was stripped away? No slow leak, no warning sirens, just a sudden, violent transition from the familiar hum of the world to the absolute, crushing silence of the void. You wouldn't hear the air leave. Sound requires a medium, a choir of molecules to carry the vibration of a scream or the rustle of leaves. Without an atmosphere, the world becomes a silent film where the actors are dying in real time. And you are standing on a planet that has suddenly become a cold, irradiated rock hurtling through a vacuum. The very thing that defines your home, the blue sky, the scent of rain, the warmth of a breeze, is gone. This isn't just a disaster scenario, it is a cosmic autopsy. By removing the air, we reveal the terrifyingly fragile clockwork of our existence. We're about to explore the physics of the immediate end, the biological rebellion of a body in a vacuum, and the philosophical horror of realizing that protection is a fleeting illusion provided by a thin layer of gas. The moment the atmosphere vanishes, the laws of physics turn into an executioner. We often think of the air as nothing, but it is the primary regulator of Earth's mechanical and thermal reality. Without it, the Goldilocks conditions of our planet evaporate instantly. The first thing you would notice, if you could notice anything, is the sky. It doesn't turn black because it's night. It turns black because there is no longer any Rayleigh scattering. On a normal day, the nitrogen and oxygen molecules in our air scatter shorter, blue wavelengths of light in every direction. This creates the illusion of a solid blue dome. Without those molecules, you're looking directly into the maw of the universe. The sun becomes a jagged white-hot coin sewn into a velvet shroud of absolute darkness. You can see the stars and the sun simultaneously. A sight usually reserved for astronauts, now gifted to every doomed soul on the surface. Then comes the pressure, or the lack thereof. Pressure is the invisible hand that keeps your liquids liquid. There is a concept in thermodynamics known as the Armstrong limit. It is the altitude, roughly 18 to 19 kilometers, where the atmospheric pressure is so low that water boils at the normal temperature of the human body. With the atmosphere gone, the Armstrong limit is now at sea level. Your blood doesn't literally boil like a pot on a stove because your circulatory system is pressurized by your heart and the elasticity of your veins. However, every exposed fluid begins to transition into gas. The moisture on your tongue, the film of tears on your eyes, and the fluid in your lungs begin to vaporize. This is called ebulism. You would feel the saliva on your tongue turn to steam, a chillingly literal evaporation of your physical self. As the pressure vanishes, the Earth itself begins to scream. The atmosphere provides roughly 101,325 pascals of pressure at sea level. When that is removed, the internal pressure of the soil, the trapped gases in the crust, and the very structures we've built begin to expand. Sealed bags of chips explode. Windows shatter outward. The sudden pressure differential would cause the very ground to off-gas, creating localized dust storms as the Earth tries to equilibrate with the vacuum. Thermal regulation ceases to exist. The atmosphere is a giant thermal blanket. It traps long-wave infrared radiation, keeping the planet's average temperature at a habitable 15 degrees Celsius. Without it, the dark side of the Earth, the night side, would plummet to temperatures of minus 150 degrees Celsius or lower within hours. Meanwhile, the day side is bombarded by the unfiltered fury of the sun. Without the ozone layer, which is part of the vanished atmosphere, high-energy UV radiation hits your skin like a physical weight, causing instantaneous deep tissue burns. And then there are the oceans. The Earth's oceans are held in place by gravity, but they are held in a liquid state by pressure. In a vacuum, the surface of the ocean begins to boil violently. Not because it's hot, it's actually losing heat through the process of latent heat of vaporization, but because the phase transition from liquid to gas no longer has any resistance. Massive plumes of water vapor would erupt from the seas, momentarily creating a thin, pathetic replacement atmosphere of steam, only to be stripped away by the solar wind or frozen into a crystalline fog as the temperature drops. Earth, the blue marble, would turn into a white, hazy ghost in a matter of days, shrouded in its own evaporating lifeblood. But physics is only half the story. The true horror of the atmosphere's disappearance isn't what happens to the planet. It's what happens to the mind. Human consciousness is an evolutionary masterpiece designed for a very specific set of parameters. Our brains are hardwired for a world of mediums. We interact with the air through speech. We interact with the light through the filter of the sky. When you remove the atmosphere, you remove the buffer between the self and the infinite. Psychologically, we suffer from what some philosophers call cosmic insignificance syndrome. We spend our lives feeling like the protagonists of a grand drama. But the instant the sky disappears, the drama is revealed to be a puppet show occurring on a stage with no walls. The out there is suddenly in here. The neurological reaction to a vacuum is one of pure, unadulterated panic. Your brain has a specific suffocation alarm triggered by the buildup of carbon dioxide in the blood. Ironically, if the atmosphere vanished, you wouldn't feel like you were choking in the traditional sense. You would be able to exhale, but there would be nothing to inhale. Since there is no CO2 building up, it's all leaving your body into the vacuum, the air hunger might be strangely absent for the first few seconds. You would feel a terrifying lightness, a dizzying euphoria of hypoxia, before losing consciousness in about 15 seconds. In those 15 seconds, you are faced with the ultimate alienation. Throughout human history, we have looked up at the sky and seen gods, ancestors, or destiny. We see the heavens. But the atmosphere is a veil that hides the truth. The truth is that we are living on a spaceship Earth with no hull. We are clinging to a spinning rock in a graveyard of radioactive radiation and frozen nothingness. The atmosphere is the only thing that makes the universe feel cozy. Without it, you realize that you are not on a planet. You are in a void, precariously tethered to a stone by the weak force of gravity. Consider the overview effect. Astronauts often report a cognitive shift when seeing Earth from orbit, a feeling of intense fragility and the disappearance of national borders. If the atmosphere vanished, every human on Earth would experience a lethal version of the overview effect. You would see the blackness of space touching your front porch. You would see the stars not as distant twinkles, but as searing, unblinking eyes. This brings us to a terrifying philosophical realization. Our consciousness is a high-pressure phenomenon. Everything we value, art, music, love, war, requires the presence of gas. Music is the manipulation of airwaves. Speech is the shaping of breath. Even the smell of a loved one's skin is the movement of volatile organic compounds through a nitrogen-oxygen medium. We are air breathers, not just biologically, but culturally and spiritually. Either we're a low vacuum species trying to make sense of a high vacuum universe. The silence would be the most haunting part. In the dark forest, theory of the universe, the cosmos is a silent woods filled with predators, where any noise draws certain death. But here, the silence isn't a choice. It's a physical law. You could stand next to your child, scream at the top of your lungs, and they would hear nothing. The connection between us is literally made of air. When the air is gone, the social contract is physically severed. We are returned to the state of isolated monads, dying in our own private bubbles of silence. Is this why we fear the dark? Is it an evolutionary memory of the vacuum? Probably not. Our ancestors never encountered a vacuum, but we have an innate fear of the open, the unprotected. We build houses, we wear clothes, we seek shelter. We're a species that craves boundaries. The atmosphere is the ultimate boundary. It is the skin of our world. When it's peeled back, we're exposed as nothing more than delicate arrangements of carbon and water, entirely out of place in the grand, cold machinery of the cosmos. We are a biological accident that occurred in a pressurized pocket. We are like the deep-sea fish that live at the bottom of the Mariana Trench. If you bring them to the surface, they expand and die because they were built for the crushing weight of the deep. We are built for the crushing weight of the sky. We don't realize how much we need the pressure until it stops holding us together. If the atmosphere vanished today, by tomorrow, the Earth would be a silent, sterile museum. The birds would have fallen from the sky mid-flight, their wings beating against a medium that no longer exists. The forests would stand as brown, desiccated skeletons, their leaves flash-dried and then frozen. The fires that were burning would go out instantly. Fire, too, is a child of the atmosphere. Eventually, the Earth would settle into a new equilibrium. It would look much like the Moon or Mars, a world of stark shadows and cratered silence. The Earthrise seen from the Moon would no longer be a vibrant blue marble. It would be a dull, grey-white orb, its clouds gone, its oceans turned to ice or lost to the stars. But there is a strange, dark comfort in this thought. It reminds us that our life, our meaning, is not a fundamental property of the universe. It is a local weather pattern. We are a temporary state of matter allowed by a specific set of gas laws. The universe doesn't hate us. It doesn't even notice us. It simply is. And being in the universe usually means being in a vacuum. The 100 kilometers of air above your head is the only thing standing between you and the real world, the world of the void. We are living in a beautiful, pressurized hallucination. So tonight, when you step outside, look up. Don't just look at the stars, look at the blue. Or, if it's night, look at the absence of stars near the horizon. Feel the weight of the air on your skin. Listen to the wind. Every sound you hear is a gift from the molecules that are currently holding your body together. We live at the bottom of an ocean of air, and for now the tide is still in. What would be your final thought in those 15 seconds of consciousness? Would you look at the stars with a sense of betrayal, or would you finally feel, for the first time, like you were truly seeing the universe as it is? The sky is a veil. One day the veil will be lifted. Whether by our own hand or the cold mechanics of the cosmos, the silence is waiting. Tell me in the comments, if you could hear one last sound before the silence took over, what would it be? And does the fragility of our atmosphere make you feel protected, or does it make you feel like a ghost in a machine that's starting to fail? I am 10 Minute Cosmos. Follow for more, and keep breathing.